express is that, the if they ran into solid rock, what I said was, you can always run into a rock. Now, if they ran into solid rock, like you can, that would be a different thing. Then we could talk about something different, because that would be a little bit outside of the scope.
Okay.
We've also talked to a couple contractors.
Jensen's very confident there's not a rock in
The
there.
rock formation or
Because
whatever.
obviously
so
they got the quarry up and they've dug around in that area quite a bit. So I don't think that there's, very few times I've been in Humboldt where I'm willing to say strong that
Yeah.
there's not a rock. But, when Jensen has a good idea, Jensen has a good idea. The rock is not in this town, so.
And for the
He's
most
probably
part,
the best guess you're gonna get.
this line only runs about 5 foot deep too. I mean, you just get below that frost level because it is a pressurized line. It can kind of go at the same elevation throughout the entire time that it goes underneath the ground, because you don't really have to worry about grade going across it, because it's pressurized. So.
Gonna be put in this year yet then? Before, yeah.
Yep. It should be pretty. I mean, it really shouldn't take them too long. There'll probably be two bore pits that they'll have to open up, and then directional drill from there, or 2 spots that they're going to directional drill. And they'll probably be the same spots that they're going to put in the service lines are close to, so they'd have to have something open there. It's also been nice because it turns out there's about every possible utility in that ditch there that's imaginable. There were so many flags in there, I couldn't find another spot that there wasn't a flag. But we're just going to directional drill really underneath them, and they will pop a pot hole and confirm the elevations on those, but then pop it right in from one side. So I think it's a real good fit for the location.
MS, just one change. They had their own well back there for a long time, and have since went on to city service. Tapped onto the 12, came the long run to grab the 12 for their truck wash in the back, and so they do use a significant amount of city services using that truck wash now.
So were they using a septic system before? Or?
No, they had well water, but city sewer at that point, and so now they're pay the same as anybody else does.
Okay. Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Scholl,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Goodell,
Aye.
Slater.
Aye.
Next, we need a motion to approve the following proposed resolution number 2014-129. A resolution directing the city clerk to publish a notice of public hearing and setting 5:30 p.m. Monday, November 17th, 2014, as the time and date for a public hearing to discuss the submittal of a community development block grant CDBG application.
This is the same application that was submitted last year for the housing rehabilitation grant. The grant was denied last year, and I worked with Midas to improve the grant. One change was to up the city match from $15,000 in 2 extra houses to $28,500 in 2 extra houses. This small increase should put the city in the highest point category for local matching funds. If the grant is received, the city would find out roughly in April when it was funded. Depending on continuing resolutions and everything else on federal funding, sometimes that gets delayed, but it is a huge benefit to help out folks that are struggling to make improvements. It's a great program in the sense that I spend a lot of time on ordinance enforcement and telling people they have to do this, that, or the other thing, and so it's nice to give them an opportunity to potentially tap into some resources to address some of those issues for the kind of hard luck cases.
Just go through Midas or not?
Yes, this is a Midas grant application, and they do they're the kind of the third-party administration, so that there's no bias on who gets funded and who doesn't.
Okay. Because we had like 100 and some applications for fund requests last year, right?
Yeah, and I mean, half of those are going to not meet needs testing, and then you figure about half of that half is going to fail to qualify because they have to be up to date on their utility bills. They can't have past due bills to the city or anybody else, and they have to not be in any current violation of ordinances. So the improvements, you can't have a situation where the city's been trying to get you to clean up the trash in your front yard, and you've never done it, and you've just kind of blown it off. So
So it's gonna be about 12 houses to, I mean, no, I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's
about what-
actually-
Credit road.
Yeah. There's 12 that can be improved, and a lot of times it turns into 13 because there's it's a $25,000 grant. They actually budget $37,500. Part of that's grant administration, part of that's lead painted abatement. And so if the houses end up not having lead paint, then those funds still stay in the account, and you just complete an additional home or two with the funds that you have available. But as part of the project, all the lead paint has to be abated if they come into a house that does have lead paint.
And that additional money is gonna come out of what fund? Or-
That is the low and moderate income tax increment financing set aside. And so that's, every time there's a market rate project for tax increment financing for housing purposes, then 38.8% of that funding that's received through tax increment financing has to be put into a separate fund to specifically benefit low and moderate income households.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Davis.
Aye.
Goodell.
Aye.
Slater.
Aye.
Scholl.
Aye.
That's the last of the regular scheduled items, Aaron?
One thing that came up, obviously on Sunday, there was a fire out at the compost pile. I don't know whether that was potentially somebody tossed some ashes from burning on Saturday, or if somebody had a cigarette out there and threw it on the compost pile, or what happened. But there was a fire out there. That led to the compost pile being closed today. We received a lot of angry calls about, folks wanting to get rid of their leaves and whatnot. It was just a safety concern. It had to be closed. It reignited once on Sunday, and so we didn't want to take any more chances. There's a lot of expensive property out there. You got a brand new building next to it. There's a grass field right there. There's just too many opportunities for something to go really wrong. So the idea was to take the sensible precaution, just close down the compost site, make sure that everything is out, any hot spots are addressed. The street department's going to go out tomorrow morning, check to see what it looks like, and then potentially reopen it if everything looks okay. So I know that's been a big source of concern, as everybody's addressing leaves and picking things up right now. So I think that's probably the biggest issue I've heard about recently.
Anything else?
The one other thing I would say is it looks like the sidewalk project, we're getting pretty much down to the punch list on the
Yep.
ramp. If you haven't had a chance to see it, there's a picture of it with the new railing on. It looks really nice. I guess what's the status on that? Is there anything really left to be done on that project?
No, there
or-
was a couple spots of the sidewalk. They found some cracks on the sidewalk actually. So that'll be on their punch list. Seating will be on their punch list, and they had a couple other cleanup items, silt pits, things like that need to be wrapped up. But it looks really good. I've been really happy the way that it turned out. So I definitely go take a peek at it. So.
Hopefully we'll have a bridge over it pretty soon.
Yeah.
The one other thing, the water tower automatic systems did come in. They completed a lot of work. We're still waiting for the second test to come back for the back T test on the water tower to put it into operation. And then I think they have one more little tweak they have to do, and then it'll be operational also. So we'll be close to having 2 towers up and running. One cause for concern that Clint reported to me this morning in the department head meeting was that the system that is the brains of the operation has now crashed 4 times in the last month, and so which requires that they start from scratch. I mean, essentially bring the whole thing back online. That means the water towers don't talk. It means the plant doesn't run. It means the filters don't run. The pumps shut down. I mean, everything goes dark in the plant when the brains SCADA system shuts down. And so with that in mind, they're
So
working.
why is that happening?
Well, that's what we're working with automatic systems to try to figure out, because that is completely unacceptable, because the whole point of a new plant is that we don't expose ourselves to potential boil odors. Well, we've taken care of the power issue with the fact that we have generation on site now. We've taken care of capacity issues, we've, improved everything there, and now the new computer equipment is failing to function properly. I'm sure that we'll figure out what's going on, but it is a huge liability right now. I mean, if it, and it doesn't send an alarm when it crashes again, which everything in the plant sends an alarm. If a filter goes down or, any pump goes down, an alarm's sent to, phone call to people service to come check on the plant to make sure everything's okay. Realistically, the plant's built to run automatic without somebody even there. I mean, it's supposed to report and test and everything on its own, and just somebody babysitting all the output from that. But clearly, we're having some growing issues with this new computer system. Mainly, we'll continue to work to address it, but mainly wanted the council to be aware that there is still ongoing issues with getting the plant up and operational. So.
Are we still falling under liquidated damages, or is that or does that, for time frame, or everything is up and running, or if it crashes and it goes down, is that?
Well, so far they bring it back up, and it solves all the problems. And we don't run the plant in automatic. There's always somebody there. Yes, it can do that, but we don't. The people service doesn't do that. It's just probably a bad idea for this very reason, to run it without somebody around to watch the plant. So, I think it's not a liquidated damage sort of thing, because it's more of working out bugs in the system, but these are pretty big bugs. Four severe crashes in a month.
If it shuts us down to a boil order, that would be a disaster.
Yeah. And that's the flip side of that. The part that was concerning for me is we run off valves right now between the towers, and so the towers close based off of demand and filling the towers and those lines. This system is what opens and closes those valves. So you could foresee a situation where you are losing your towers, which is what provides all the pressure to the system, which would be an immediate boil order if that happened, because you drop pressure in the system. So. Definitely making it very clear to Fox Engineering and to automatic systems that this needs to be addressed immediately, because it's just, there's too many opportunities for something to go horribly wrong if you've got a system crashing like this.
And more good news,
Full of good news.
Gloria, anything?
Just one more burn day, November 15th. That will be the last one for this season.
Brett?
Other?
Joel? John?
No, I don't.
The only thing I had, I've been here a year now this month, and with my background in sales, and I think maybe Brett and Walt and John can attest to this, you're always getting, kind of evaluated on how you do versus last year and things like that. So evaluations are rather important. And to my knowledge, do we have an evaluation in place for employees? Is that in the city, and how often do they take place?
Annually, I will say that sometimes that's slipped, but it's supposed to be annual performance appraisals for all the employees. I'll
And-
tell you that the
And you do
person-
that,
No.
that for all the, or who does all
The
that?
supervisors do the
Department heads.
All the department heads, they evaluate
Yeah.
their employees in their departments.
Mhm.
I see,
We're
okay.
switching department heads, so that's been a
Yeah.
problem, because we evaluate the new department heads that are,
A lot of new employees, a lot of
Yeah.
new department heads. I mean, it's good to give a baseline of where people can grow, but, honestly, the person who's probably the worst about getting those performance appraisals done is me,
Get
with getting
those done?
the department heads' performance appraisals put together. I know the library, street department, all those guys have done a really good job about getting those back to me and getting those into the file. a lot of times it's just to note, you know, where people are at, and if there is a small issue, sometimes those small issues become large issues, and if you don't document and they do become large issues, then you're gonna be paying for costs, maybe an unreasonable fire, you know, so it's just important in the current climate to make sure you document everything.
So you do that yearly. But one opportunity that I really appreciated wasn't a chance to evaluate the company as a whole. So I'm saying, do we offer like the employees an opportunity to, you know, kind anonymously say, hey, you know, Parks Department, they evaluate, you know, Clayton and things like that, or would the department heads be able to evaluate, you know, possibly you and how you're performing your duties?
Sure.
And things like that? Do we offer surveys like that and things, or how does that work?
Those are called 360 evaluations. There's a lot of cities that have moved to that. So what happens then, in a 360-degree evaluation, you have bottom up and top down
Sure.
evaluation. So in this case, you'd have, like if it was me, it would be the department heads would evaluate me on my performance and how I've been communicating with them and getting things done. And then obviously the council mayor would evaluate down on me as far as what, you know, improvements, what things have been going well, and what's not been going well. And so that's sort of, I mean, that's one approach. We've not implemented 360-degree evaluations, but it is an approach that a lot of cities have moved towards.
How much time you wanna spend on it? It's time and money, it's all it boils down to, time and money.
Well, I think it's a good opportunity though for everybody to kind of, you know, voice their concerns though. I mean, if anonymously, that way they weren't, you know, afraid of retribution or, you know,
No.
retaliation in a sense, I guess.
In the past, if employees have had a problem, they'll pretty much all come to me, I guess, you know, over the times and stuff anyway, and, you know, I brought up even the council or there and stuff anyway, so I guess it's.
Okay. I was just curious. I know it was an effective tool on how to, you know, on in a sales career anyway, so I was just curious.
Done?
Yeah,
Anything else?
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow's vote day, so we just wanna encourage everyone to vote, so get out and everyone casts. We're not voting for you.
No, just let people know that we do not enforce the snow ordinance in November. That starts in December.
In
So
December.
we've been getting lots of phone calls at the office.
You change that,
so.
so. Okay.
Well, we're not gonna have snow in November.
I certainly hope not. We'll start putting out those little yellow cards probably after Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
Just reminders to people, so.
Thank you, Dean.
Yep, thank you.
With that, we need a motion to schedule Monday, November 17th, 2014 at 5:30 PM as a date and time for the next regular meeting of the Humboldt City Council to